To one of our top stories today, the boss of Virgin Airlines says it would be wrong for the government to provide a debt guarantee to Qantas. John Borghetti called on the government and opposition to think very carefully before it responds to the demands of Alan Joyce. It comes as Virgin Airline posted a pre-tax loss of almost $50 million. I'm joined now by Sky News political reporter in the studio, Laura Jays. Laura, John Borghetti certainly had a stern warning, if you like, when he addressed the media.
Certainly didn't mince his words, and he's used this release of Virgin's half-year profits of a loss of more than almost $50 million to issue this warning. He's asked the government and the opposition to think very carefully about issuing a government debt guarantee. He said he's open to changing the Sale Act, but he has warned that if the government does provide this to Qantas, he would be seeking the same for Virgin within 24 hours of the government doing so.
There is a lot of talk about the Qantas Sale Act, but let me say that Virgin is the first to say that it is out of date, and we have no issue with it being removed or amended in any shape or form. However, providing a financial facility to the detriment of the rest of the industry, as I hope our government and opposition will agree, is wrong.
Pretty stern words there from John Borghetti, and words he's uttered before, but considering Qantas's announcement yesterday of the loss of 5,000 jobs, it has come to the forefront. Now, he's been very critical of Qantas pursuing that 65% market share, and he says Qantas already has a monopoly over the market and the government shouldn't be propping it up. Now, a debt guarantee is exactly what Qantas is asking for in the medium term. In the longer term, they want to see changes to the Qantas Sale Act. That is not an issue not something that Virgin has an issue with. But Alan Joyce confirmed this morning to our chief political reporter, Kieran Gilbert, that yes, changes to the Qantas Sale Act is what Qantas needs, but he sees that as more of a medium to long-term solution.
We're still in dialogue with the government about levelling the playing field as we've been putting it. And I think what's important is that the government and the opposition recognise that there's a distorted playing field in the Australian domestic market. They recognise that Qantas has a disadvantage, and they recognise that that needs to be corrected. Now, there's talk about the Qantas Sale Act being changed, and that will certainly fix the issue in the medium to long term, as long as the FIRB issues around potentially SOEs investing in Qantas is also addressed.
Alan Joyce this morning, and Selena, this comes after the words of Tony Abbott yesterday, his response to Qantas saying that, well, expressing concern if he offers this to one company, he needs to offer it to all. So it's hard to see what the government will do on this one, but certainly two options available to it.
Yeah, I mean, what kind of hints have we had about what might happen? I mean, it is all pure speculation at the moment.
Yeah, well, we have heard from the opposition this morning. We've heard from Anthony Albanese, and he's put this firmly in the government's court. Now, Labor is calling on the government to act quickly and offer that debt guarantee, but it's not willing to negotiate on the Sale Act in terms of opening it up to Qantas being majority foreign owned. This was Anthony Albanese from the airport this morning.
Mr Abbott will bear responsibility for what happens from this point on. Having teased the markets, having teased Qantas, having indicated in briefing after briefing what the conditions were for government action and support, including the 4 criteria that Mr Hockey, as the Treasurer, put forward, and said all of those had been passed.
There's 2 things that Labor can do right now to help the government, to help Qantas. They can help pass a bill to lift the foreign ownership limits from 49%, which would give the opportunity for people to invest in Qantas from overseas. But secondly, they could also pass the carbon tax repeal bills in the Senate, which is sitting there waiting to be passed. That cost Qantas $106 million last financial year. Every year that's going to be a burden on Qantas until it's passed. So Labor could help Qantas today by supporting the government on 2 measures.